Mr. Josh loves riding bikes, especially dirt bikes. And I enjoy that many of you enjoy riding bikes as well. And it's a blast when I get to hear the stories about when you go out and ride. Funny thing is, Mr. Josh doesn't like to go super fast or go off of big jumps or even race his friends. Mr. Josh loves riding bikes because he can explore God's creation. Do you enjoy exploring God's creation? Whenever I ride my bike, I always thank God for His creation because the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31, "So whatever you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God." So if I enjoy riding my dirt bike, then I even need to do that for God's glory. Whenever Mr. Josh rides his bike, he always rides with a helmet. And here's a picture of Mr. Josh's favorite helmet. I love this helmet because it reminds me that my brain is precious cargo made by God, and I always need to keep it safe, just like it's a fragile package. The first person to ever introduce me to dirt bikes was my friend Christian in 1999. Mr. Josh was only 6 years old. And in that picture, you also see one of my best friends growing up, James Mullen. And look how silly Mr. Josh's dad is in this picture. Mr. Josh still prays for his friend Christian that he would make Jesus the boss of his life. The second person to introduce me to dirt bikes was Mr. Waters. Here's a picture of Mr. Josh in 2007 when he was only 12 years old. Mr. Waters taught me a lot about riding a motorcycle, how to use the clutch, how to stay balanced, how to climb up big hills. But the most important thing that Mr. Waters taught me was that I needed to treat others as more important than myself. And I still remember a few things that he taught me about motorcycles, but the one thing I always remember is to treat others more important than myself, just like the Bible teaches us. The third person that I have memories of enjoying motorcycles with was my friend Zach Patton. He was my best friend in high school, and every summer when we got out of school, I would go over to his house and we'd take his 2 dual sport motorcycles into the wilderness and we would go dirt bike camping. We always had a blast and there were great memories together. I still miss my friend Zach Patton. A while back when he went to college, he moved to Arizona, but even though he's a far ways away, I still pray for my friend Zach as well to make sure God would take care of him and keep him safe. And now, Mr. Josh rides with his friend Papa Ray. Well, I call him Mr. Ray, but many of you know him as Papa Ray. He has taught me so much about dirt bikes. In fact, he and I rebuilt this one together. This is a Honda CT90 from 1967. And this was a really fun project that I learned a lot on. But the most important thing that Papa Ray ever taught me was to ride like it's flat. And what he means by this is whether or not you're going up a steep hill or going down really fast, it's best if you focus on what's right in front of you, pretend like it's flat, and trust God with the rest. Because God has designed us to do best with what's right in front of us and trust Him with everything else that's crazy and going on in life. And I am so thankful that I learned that from Papa Ray. One time, Papa Ray and I were riding through the mountains up out of town. And while we were going through the mountains, we came around a big dirt turn and we looked out in front of us and there was a whole herd of huge, long-horned cattle in the distance. And as we got closer, we noticed that one of them was dead center right in the middle of the road. He was enormous. While we were sitting on our bikes and super tall, this cow was even bigger than us. He towered over us and we didn't know what to do. So Papa Ray took his throttle and he went brah, 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 and made a loud sound that boomed across the hillside. And at first, the cow lurched towards us, but at the last second, the cow got scared of Papa Ray, so he took off into the wilderness and we went off nice and safe. And that is one of my favorite rides that I've ever been on. It doesn't really matter what you enjoy doing. Some of you may enjoy riding bikes just like Mr. Josh, but others of you might have different things that you enjoy. The most important thing to remember is it's not about the activities that we do, but it's all about the people that we do those activities with. And God puts people in our lives so we can learn new things and also so we can encourage other people and pray for them. So you got to think about what activities do you do and what people have God put in your life to learn new things from and to encourage and pray for. When you think of Mr. Josh, I don't want you to think of how much Mr. Josh loves riding dirt bikes. I want you to think and remember that whatever Mr. Josh does, he loves doing for the glory of God. And that means that whatever you do, you also need to do for the glory of God. Remember our Bible verse from 1 Corinthians? It tells us that whatever you do, whether you eat or drink or whatever, to do for the glory of God. So, let's get out and let's enjoy what we do, and this week, let's remember to do it for God's glory. This week, Mr. Josh is going to go for a dirt bike ride, and he is going to do it for God's glory by looking at God's creation and thanking Him for it, and by encouraging his friends and praying for his friends. I can't wait to hear what you're going to do this week. Go ahead and send me a video or a picture of yourself doing what you love and for the glory of God this week.